2 killed, wedding guests abducted as bandits launch attack in Katsina. Two Rivers lawmakers withdraw support for impeachment move against Fubara. Lagos demolition displaces Makoko waterside residents. And on the foreign scene, Museveni seeks 7th term as Bobi Wine takes campaign to Kampala. Hello there, very good evening. It's good to have you join us on News Hour tonight. I am Fatima Abbas Hassan. And we begin on a sad note. At least 2 people have been killed and several others abducted after suspected bandits attacked a wedding convoy in Ungwar Nagunda community in Kankara local government area of Katsina State. The attack occurred on Sunday night, leaving several guests injured, including the bride. A security source said residents reported heavy gunfire and widespread panic when the assailants arrived in the community. As of the time of filing this report, the Katsina State Police Command had yet to comment on the incident, as calls and messages to the police spokesperson went unanswered. The attack comes amid plans by the Katsina State government to release 70 detainees suspected bandits as part of efforts to consolidate what it described as an existing peace deal with banditry-affected communities. Okay. Now, plans by the Katsina State government to release about 70 suspected bandits have triggered tension, debate, and struck emotions across the state. While some residents see it as a necessary step to keep a fragile peace deal alive, others fear it could put communities back in danger. In Katsina, Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi now reports.
The peace deal between local authorities and repentant bandits is built on exchange. The bandits agree to lay down their arms and release captives, while government considers the fate of their detained associates. For weeks, families of those in custody have been waiting, hoping their loved ones would be released as part of that agreement. The 70 suspects being considered are held across different custodial facilities in the state. A list published by Katsina Times, an online news platform, names people from several affected communities, including Hadiza Diji Hawa'u of Safana, Gambo Zubairu of Faskari, Montari Yusuf of Safana, Yakuba Alhaji Ardu, Tukura Amadu, also known as Liman, Idi Salisu Gaddi, Abdul Hayatu Jabiru, Ya'u Bahari, and Ahmadu Rufai Anare, among others. For some residents, honoring the agreement is the only way to avoid a return to violence. They argue that breaking the promise now could collapse the peace process and send bandits back into the bush.
And they have released some of the victims they kidnapped. It was now the turn of the government to fulfill its deal. So they accept the deal conditionally. Now, those bandits said, okay, we want our people back. And mistakenly, since it is conditionally, the government doesn't have an emotion. I can assure you that from the source of the cycle of the bandits, if these people didn't be released, this peace deal will collapse in so many areas.
Security analyst Abubakar Ibrahim says the idea of a conditional release can work, but only if it is not driven by politics or hidden interests. Former DSS Director Mamman Manir Murtala also believes it may be the most practical option left to break the cycle of violence.
And the reasons advanced by the Commissioner of Security that they are swapping prisoner of war. And he cited some examples. Then are we at war? Is it a conventional war? Does he know what he's talking about war? Has he ever been in the war, in the battlefield? So these are questions he cannot answer. And he is making it to look like swapping prisoners of war in a war-like situations, which it is not. These are criminals, and they must be treated as criminals. As it is a known fact that no war, no conflict will start and end in the battlefield. So also the challenge of banditry, insurgency or terrorism will hardly end up in the field. People must come to talk to themselves. Key actors must come to discuss. Now we have reached certain stage. What are you ready to concede? What am I ready to concede?
The chairman of the Security Committee in Damusa, Buhari Salisu Ntumaki, who also serves as secretary to the 19 local government areas affected by banditry, insists that the proposed release poses no threat. He says it is key to sustaining the peace deal.
The community of that local governments, all the 19 local governments, they are the ones organized for the peace accord with these our relatives, that is the Fulani bandits. At that time, no any official government has interfered in that arrangement. It's between the community and the Fulani.
The Katsina State Commissioner for Internal Security has, however, dismissed claims that the government is freeing high-profile bandit leaders or hardcore criminals. He maintains that the process is lawful and part of a broader peace agreement. He also revealed that more than 1,000 kidnapped victims have been released by bandits under the deal, and said the government must also honor its own commitments.
And for those who have the apprehension that these bandits, if they are freed, they will go back and start attacking people, that is very difficult. It's not even possible, because those who are even free are not attacking. How much more of those who have been released, who came out from the prison? Believe you me, let us pray. I think it is going to be a good thing if we try to see how we can be able to meet up.
For many Katsina residents, the goal is simple: lasting peace. But they are urging authorities to move with care, warning that a single misstep could erase months of hard-won calm. Abdullahi Ismail, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And now our correspondent in Katsina, Abdullahi Yamadi, joins us via phone call to give us more update. Hello there, Abdullahi. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Fatima.
Okay. Now, what new information do you have about the latest attack in Katsina?
Well, the new information is that sources close to security agencies indicate that security personnel have been mobilized, and they are combing the nearby bushes and other locations that are isolated with a view to rescuing the remaining victims. You know, about 17 wedding guests were abducted, and then 8 out of them have been escaped and reunited with their families. So what we now have, Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Abdullah. Go on. We can hear you.
Like I was saying, 17 wedding guests were abducted. Okay. 9 out of them escaped unhurt, and I think the remaining 8 are still with the bandits. So security personnel have been mobilized, and they are working hard to rescue the remaining people that are there with the bandits. So that is the situation at the moment.
Well, okay. Has there been any reaction from the state government concerning the incident, especially in relation to the
Commissioner of Internal Security and the Home Affairs, Nasiru Mazda Musa, confirmed the incident and, of course, promised to send a contact number for the Chairman Security Committee of Tangara Local Government. But up to the time of this report, the number has not been received. But sources at the Tangara Local Government indicate that the incident has occurred and people were killed. And of course, some were injured, and the injured ones are receiving medical attention at some hospitals in Katsina.
Okay. Okay. What about the planned release, of suspected bandits? Has there been any development in that regard?
Indeed, this afternoon, the Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs addressed journalists in his office, where he confirmed that the process is ongoing and, of course, is part of the peace deal initiated by communities and the bandits. And for the government to remain on the part of or rather to isolate the process is something that will drag the peace process back to Sequoia Zero. And they will not want that situation to happen here in Katsina. So, in essence, he confirmed that the process is on and the suspected bandits proposed to be released, will soon be released to have a lasting peace in Katsina, assuring residents that those that are to be released will not pose any threat to the fragile security when they are in Katsina State. Okay.
Now, thank you very much, Abdullahi. We hope to get more from you as soon as the developments unfold.
Thank you very much, Fatma.
Moving on, 11 terrorist fighters have surrendered to troops of Operation Hat-and-Kai in Borno State, as soldiers killed 8 others and arrested 2 suspected logistics suppliers. The development was disclosed on Sunday by the Media Information Officer of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hat-and-Kai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba. He said the terrorists surrendered along the Azir Wajiroko axis under Operation Desert Sanity 5, handling over their AK-47 rifles and assorted ammunition. According to the military, troops have sustained intense offensive operations against Boko Haram and ISWAP across Borno State, recording major successes in clearance and fighting patrols. On January the 9th, troops destroyed several terrorist enclaves in the Bulagalda cluster, dismantling logistics networks and recovering weapons and flags. In a related operation between Sojiri and Kayamla villages, 8 terrorists were neutralized while 2 suspected collaborators were arrested in Gubio local government area. Now, troops of the 6th Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Sector 3 of Operation Wild Stroke, have arrested 2 suspected gun runners in Taraba State. The arrests, conducted on January the 11th, 2026, were part of intelligence-led operations under Operation Peace Shield. During interrogation, one suspect reportedly confessed to working with an accomplice known as Chim from Shomo Gari in Garilamir local government area. Investigations also revealed that one of the suspects, Adamu, allegedly sold an AK-47 rifle to Bazio John of Murbai village, Ardo local government, Ardo Kola local government area in November 2025, highlighting a wider arms supply network in the state. Both suspects remain in military custody, undergoing further investigation before being handed over to the appropriate authorities for prosecution. Two Rivers State House of Assembly members have withdrawn from the impeachment process against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Professor Ngozi Odu. The minority leader, Sylvanus Nwanko of Umuma State Constituency and Peter Abbey of Gedema State Constituency urged colleagues to seek a peaceful resolution to the ongoing proceedings. Speaking to newsmen, the lawmakers acknowledged that Governor Fubara may have infringed on certain constitutional provisions, but appealed to other legislators to consider it a human error and allow the issues to be resolved amicably. They also said they received calls from stakeholders within and outside Rivers State encouraging reconciliation and dialogue between the Assembly and the Governor's office.
Gentlemen, you are all aware that the Rivers State House of Assembly issued a notice of impeachment on the governor of Rivers State, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, and the deputy governor of Rivers State. But we have called this press conference to appeal to our fellow colleagues to tamper justice with mercy and to see how we can resolve this matter apart from the impeachment proceedings. That is why we are here this morning to appeal to the conscience of our fellow colleagues, having listened to so many pleas, calls from our elders and leaders, both within and outside the state, begging for leniency. We are begging, calling our colleagues to reconsider our step and see how this matter can be resolved amicably, even though the governor and the deputy governor has infringed on the constitution. But we are appealing on them to reconsider our stand. Thank you so much.
As the minority leader said, the governor, yes, he has infringed on parts of the constitution, but we are human beings, and we as people, as members of the 10th Assembly, we want to plead with our colleagues to please reconsider. This, we have received calls from leaders, from people in River State, outside River State, and we see that you don't raise the axe and swing it as you raise it. So we plead with our colleagues to reconsider, to please reconsider, provided the governor too has a role to play. He too must make sure he doesn't infringe furthermore on the constitution.
Well, there is no doubt that the Rivers State crisis has again put impeachment at the center of Nigerians' politics, showing how a constitutional power has morphed into a political weapon. Since 1999, impeachment has rarely meant public accountability. It has mostly meant pressure. When a governor falls out with party bosses or power brokers, the House of Assembly often becomes the tool to force loyalty or settle scores. Many past removals were later overturned by the courts, proving that the process was often abused or rushed. Trust TV's Noel Sampson now takes a closer look.
Nigeria runs a presidential system, so a governor cannot be removed by a simple vote. Impeachment under Section 188 is the only legal path. But in real politics, it has become a power tool. Today, impeachment gets put out when a governor falls out with a godfather, a party boss, or a powerful interest. The House of Assembly becomes the battleground. Allegations appear, threats follow, loyalty gets tested. What should protect the public now works as a warning signal. Fall back in line or face removal. This shifts impeachment away from public interest to elite control. Lawmakers stop acting as watchdogs and start acting as enforcers for political bosses. The real issue is no longer the law, it is who uses it and why.
There are clearly itemized reasons in the Constitution, that will constitute a gross misconduct, for example. For me personally, I feel that the impeachment procedures going on in Rivers State is more political. It's not constitutional.
The impeachment itself is meant to safeguard, to protect, the interests of the masses from abuse. Democracy in Nigeria, like we have this godfatherism. What is playing out in Rivers State is, of course, a case of a godfather that is unhappy with godson, and the only thing that remains is for them to now, because they have a majority in the House, to now resort to the constitutional mechanism, which is the impeachment process, to remove the governor.
Since the return to civilian rule in 1999, more than a dozen impeachment attempts have been launched against governors and the deputies across the country. But many of those removals were later overturned by the courts. With several office holders reinstated after judges ruled that due process was not followed, legal experts say this is why successful and final impeachment remains rare in Nigeria. The Constitution sets a very high bar, and any breach of procedure can collapse the entire process.
The removal of a governor under Section 188 involves the participation of the judiciary. Once a resolution is passed to that effect, but this time around, it's not a simple majority, it's a two-thirds majority because of the significance of it. And if the resolution is passed by two-thirds of the members for the investigation of the allegations that are contained in the notice, the Speaker will request the Chief Judge of the state to constitute a 7-man panel to hear, more or less, I would use this word loosely, to try the allegations.
On the streets of Abuja, Trust TV asks residents what they think about the impeachment of governors and who really benefits from it.
The way all these governors come, some of them come on a platter of, oh, I brought you here. Oh, I sponsor this, I sponsor that. So whatever you do, you must dance to my tune. So some of them is not really based on grossly misconduct. Like if you turn down your godfather, of course you expect something else. They must find one or two things to make sure that they bring you that, but not necessarily based on grossly misconduct.
But when you come and say, okay, let's not do this in this way, let's do it this way, then how does it work? It cannot work. The next you say you want to impeach him, why do you want to impeach him? After all, it's we the populace that put him there. So why impeach him? You are being, in fact, you going into that, maybe say, let's say, state assembly. Only God knows how you went there. But you want to use the opportunity to impeach somebody whom the general masses put in there. For me, it's wrong.
I think in a developed world, you can't just impeach a sitting governor that way. It doesn't happen that way. So I think it's just like personal reasons.
As events continue to unfold in Rivers State, the spotlight remains on one key issue. Will the Constitution be followed to the letter, and can the allegations against the governor stand up to legal scrutiny? Well, Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And still on the political scene, former Plateau State Governor, Senator John Ajang, has denied reports that he called for the resignation of Governor Caleb Mutuang over his defection from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. The denial was contained in a statement issued on Monday in Jos, the Plateau State capital, by his media consultant, Clinton Garuba. Garuba described the reports circulating in some print and online media outlets as misleading, saying the former governor was quoted out of context. He urged residents of Plateau State to disregard the reports and continue to support Governor Mutuang to succeed. The rebuttal follows claims that Senator Jang had, at a PDP stakeholders meeting over the weekend, called on the governor to resign and seek a fresh mandate after defecting from the party. Now, the senator representing Nasarawa South Senatorial District, Ogoshi Onao, has resigned from the People's Democratic Party. The lawmaker announced this decision in a resignation letter dated January 10th, 2026, addressed to the PDP chairman of Galadi Mawa Ward in Doma local government area of Nasarawa State. Senator Onao said his resignation takes immediate effect, explaining that the decision was based on personal considerations. He thanked the party leadership, members and supporters for the opportunity to serve under the PDP platform and wished the party continued success. Although the senator did not disclose his next political destination, he has been linked to the African Democratic Congress, having been cited at the party's meeting on July 2025. The Edo State High Court Criminal Court 2 has ordered the remand of youths involved in last weekend's protest in Ekpoma. The protesters who demonstrated against rising kidnappings and insecurity in the Esso West local government area are to spend 14 days at the Ubuaja Correctional Center following the prosecution's request at the court. Relatives of those arrested wailed as the youths were moved into a waiting vehicle. A viral video from the Edo Central region showed protesters confronting insecurity, while some market traders reportedly fled in panic. Meanwhile, the Edo State Police have dismissed claims that a police station in Ekpoma was set ablaze. Spokesman Eno Ekoedem described the viral reports as false and misleading, warning that such misinformation could cause unnecessary public panic. And now to other stories. Residents of the Makoko Ilaje Ayetoro community in Yaba Local Council Development Area are raising serious concerns over the recent demolition of their homes, citing widespread displacement, loss of shelter, and alleged inhumane treatment during the exercise. The residents claim the operation was carried out without prior notice by officials of the Lagos State government and alleged that tear gas was used, resulting in injuries and reported casualties, including children. The report.
While many Nigerians were celebrating the holiday season, more than 10,000 residents of the Makoko Waterside community were rendered homeless following the forceful demolition of their homes. The exercise has displaced entire families and disrupted their sources of livelihood, with many residents now forced to sleep in boats and makeshift shelters on the water. Residents described the demolition as sudden, insisting there was no prior warning or official communication before the operation commenced.
One day I was here, and our people now come, they shout, say, all these people don't they come home, they want to break our house, and we don't know what happened. Just one day, they just starting break the house from up to here. They now said, now 30 meter they want to take. But now, the one where they're taking past 30 meter, 100 meter, they now saying still remain 150 they want to take again. So now here we are sleeping. Now 3 houses we have here. all the tree, they don't break them.
Tensions in the community remain high as residents allege that security operatives deployed tear gas during the demolition exercise. According to another resident, Michelia Farton, the situation became chaotic, with women and children reportedly affected during the confrontation.
We are no longer sleeping in our homes. We are sleeping inside boats. We are exposed to rain and harsh sunlight. We now beg for food before we can eat. Tear gas was fired and our children were affected. We lost 2 or 3 children.
As uncertainty continues to grip Makoko waterside community, displaced residents are calling on the Lagos state government and relevant authorities to intervene, provide urgent relief, and offer clear explanations for demolition. For many families, the future remains uncertain as they struggle with homelessness and the loss of their livelihoods, hoping that swift humanitarian assistance and dialogue will prevent further suffering in the community.
Now, more reactions continue to trail the federal government's decision to implement a new tax reform policy, as some Nigerians express discomfort and growing concern over its impact. There are fears that the policy may be forcing many citizens to close their bank accounts. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has that report.
Barely 12 days into January 2025, the federal government announced plan to begin implementing a new tax reform policy aimed at boosting government revenue and accelerating national growth and development. However, the decision has sparked widespread concern among Nigerians, particularly small business owners and low-income earners, who fear the policy could worsen their economic challenges. Some residents say the reforms have already begun to affect financial behavior, with reports of individuals closing bank accounts to avoid possible tax liabilities. Financial experts and residents of Bauchi State share similar concerns, describing the policy as a poorly timed amid prevailing economic hardship.
They can understand the dimension, the importance of that, and also the benefit attached to them as a citizens of Nigeria. Because most of Nigeria, if you ask them, they are angry because they don't know the benefit. And another thing that we look at it is that you see, in implementing of tax is very important because as a result of tax, we reach a lot of development to the society. But the most important thing is that carry the people along. A lot of the population of Nigerians are not carried along. In fact, as I'm talking to you, a lot of Nigerians are withdrawing their money from the banks.
We do not support this policy. I sell brocade and material, and when I went to the bank last Friday, I noticed unexpected deductions. Small business owners like us are seriously affected. We have little information on the new tax reform. The government should implement policies at the right time so ordinary citizens can benefit. We are appealing to the government to reconsider this matter. The government should focus on tackling poverty, which is already taking a toll on Nigerians, instead of imposing taxes that ordinary citizens cannot afford. Many people are struggling just to put food on the table or provide for their families.
The Nigerian economy currently is in a bad shape. I was of the opinion that the federal government will look into what Nigerians are actually craving for. We have bad roads, bandits, terrorism, all manner of things. When you put all these things in place, then you can now talk about the reform. All the monies they have been gathering before, what have they used it for? I cannot travel comfortably from here to Abuja, unlike before.
It will be recalled that the tax reform policy has generated intense debate at the National Assembly and across different segments of the country, with calls for its suspension or review. Despite the opposition, the federal government has remained resolute on implementing the policy, insisting it is necessary for economic stability and long-term development. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Despite repeated promises from regulators, millions of Nigerians still live with darkness, billing confusion, and endless disputes over electricity supply. At the center of the problem are the electricity distribution companies and a regulatory system that has failed to protect consumers. Data from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission's third quarter 2025 report shows that Discos funded only 90,172 meters nationwide between 2019 and the third quarter of 2025. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail in this next report takes a look at the wide gap between consumer rights on paper and what people face daily.
Electricity should be a public service. In Nigeria, it has become a daily source of frustration, debt, and conflict. The country has over 12 million registered electricity consumers, yet more than 7 million of them remain without meters. That gap means millions are still billed on estimates, a system many say has turned power supply into guesswork. Across homes and businesses, people report being charged for power they never used, billed during blackouts, and issued figures that have no link to their real consumption.
We pay based on estimates because the bill, most of them are not big because we stay in rural area. And the most challenge is that the estimate they are giving us to pay is not our major problem. Where you are paying bill and you are not seeing service, it becomes a consign. You understand? So we don't have light. We only see light once in a blue moon. But at the end of the day, they will bring a gigantic estimate that cannot even secure the usage of the expensive they are making us to pay. So that's where our challenge is, because the meter is not available for everyone.
While consumers like Aliyu struggle under estimated billing because Discos failed to provide prepared meters as required, others say even having a meter has not ended their problems. Some users complain about faulty devices, irregular readings, and sudden spikes that make it hard to trust the system.
The time if you put like 3,000 or 2,500, if you use electric stove before 2-3 days you don't finish. But when you remove electric stove and you remove fridge, it will reach you like 1 week. So if government can do something about that, we will be very happy.
Only thing be say men they give us light. Because we buy card for the meter, but we know they say and use due to no light for Kabusa area. Men they give us light.
Under Nigerian law, electricity users have clear rights. These include the right to a functional meter, fair and verifiable billing, and safe and reliable supply. Experts say the issue is not a lack of rules, but weak enforcement.
It is their responsibility. They have failed in their duty to meter electricity consumers in Nigeria. So how can we be satisfied? A meter is a revenue tool in the hands, that is what should determine the monies they collect, right? But since they are not taking it very seriously, that is why the federal government has to intervene. An intervention in metering has been through between 2013 and 2014. 2014 precisely, we had what is called CAPME, Credit Advance Payment for Metering Implementation. And when that one failed, they now introduced in 2018 what is called Meter Asset Provider Scheme, MAP.
From Lagos to Kano, Port Harcourt to Makurdi, complaints follow the same pattern: poor supply, unclear bills, and pressure tactics. From Discos, low awareness of consumer rights and weak penalties have allowed these practices to continue. Even more troubling, regulators and law enforcement agencies are aware that overbilling remains widespread.
Critical thing is project management. So you must know the data. How many customers need meter? How many meters can Discos provide in a year? How long will it take to close the gap? Plus the new entrants. Then if it's too long, it's okay. What can we do? We'll give them financial support and find a way to take it later. So the problem is that there is no clarity as to numbers. There's no clarity as to what the discourse can do and should do. And there's little enforcement of those numbers.
For millions of Nigerians, electricity rights exist mostly on paper, with most customers still unmetered and estimated billing still common. The cost of regulatory failure is paid every month by ordinary households and small businesses. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Not fewer than 95 contestants, including 94 princes and 1 princess, have emerged from the Fesengua ruling house of Ijebu-Ode for the vacant stool of the Awujale, the paramount ruler of Ijebuland. The nomination meeting took place on Monday at Bisrod Hall, GRA, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, presided over by the ruling house chairman, Otumba Abdulateef Owoyemi, alongside other senior family officials. Local government observers, including the secretary to the Ijebu-Ode local government area, Abiodun Oke, were also present. Among the aspirants are Giwa Abiodun Onanuga, husband of former deputy governor Yetunde Onanuga, Dr. Kulle Hassan, a renowned ophthalmologist, Otumba Fatai Arowolo of Aron Construction, and the only female contestant, lawyer Oluwakemi Onanuga. The Awujale stool became vacant in July last year following the death of Oba Sikiru Adetona, who reigned for 65 years. Each contestant signed an agreement to accept the outcome of the selection process without pursuing litigation. Speaking at the end of the nomination meeting, the Fasengua family head, Owoyemi, lauded members for conducting themselves peacefully and expressed confidence that the government will select a new Awujale who would elevate Ijebuland to greater heights. And on the sad note, the Oba of Badagry, Oba Babatunde Akron, Weno Aholu Menutoi the first, has passed away at the age of 89. Oba Akron, who was also the permanent vice chairman of the Lagos State Council of Obas and Chiefs, died after nearly 49 years on the throne. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu announced the monarch's death in a statement on Monday, describing it as a great loss to the people of Badagry, Lagos State, and Nigeria as a whole. The governor said Oba Akron was a highly respected traditional ruler whose reign was marked by wisdom, cultural preservation, and strong advocacy for the development of Badagry. He noted that the late monarch rendered selfless service to his people and left behind a lasting legacy of unity, tradition, and progressive development. Governor Sanwo-Olu also commiserated with the people of Badagry and the family of the late monarch, saying his passing is a major loss to the traditional institution in Lagos State. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has opened its online media accreditation portal ahead of the Rivers State by-elections in Ahoda East 2 and Kana 2 constituencies. The elections are scheduled to hold on February the 21st. INEC announced the development on Monday through its official social media handle, urging interested media organizations to apply online. The Commission said applications must be completed via its accreditation portal before it closed on February the 8th, stressing that late submissions will not be accepted. INEC advised media organizations seeking to cover the elections to comply strictly with the accreditation guidelines within the stipulated time frame. A bit on business, the fuel price war in Nigeria's oil downstream sector has intensified as petrol retailers in Lagos reduced prices below Dangote refinery's fixed rate of 739 naira per litre. Dangote had set the price at MRS filling stations after cutting its ex-depot price to 699 naira per litre, giving the product a competitive edge over other marketers selling between 815 naira and 840 naira per litre. In a fresh development, retailers such as Nipco, Sao, Akevich, and AP have lowered their pump prices to between 735 naira and 738 naira per litre, undercutting Dangote petrol in Lagos. Meanwhile, fuel prices in Abuja remain higher, with NNPCL, Renault Oil, Empire Energy, Nipco, and others selling between 815 naira and 839 naira per litre as at Monday morning. The move highlights growing competition among petrol marketers in key Nigerian cities. And away from Nigeria, Uganda heads to the polls on Thursday, with President Yoweri Museveni widely expected to extend his 4-decade rule. The 81-year-old former rebel leader in power since 1986 is seeking a 7th term, saying another 4 years would safeguard the country's relative peace and stability. Museveni faces 7 challengers, with the main opposition coming from 43-year-old singer-turned-politician Bobby Wine, who in 2021 secured 35% of the vote. Wene has mobilized young voters frustrated by unemployment and corruption and has taken his campaign to the Kampala slum where he grew up. His rallies, popularly among working-class urban residents, have often faced violent crackdowns by security forces. Analysts say Museveni's strong control over state institutions, reinforced by constitutional changes removing term and age limits, makes a major upset unlikely. Wene has urged supporters to remain courageous and cast protest votes against the ruling party without calling for direct protest. The January 15 election will decide both the president and members of the parliament, a crucial test of political strength amid national and international scrutiny. And Iran's nationwide internet shutdown has entered its 4th day, raising fears among activists that authorities are using the blackout to conceal a violent crackdown on protesters. Internet monitoring group NetBlocks said on Monday that the disruption had lasted more than 84 hours, limiting access to information across the country. The group noted that the blackout could only be bypassed through satellite phones, Starlink, shortwave radio, or mobile signals near Iran's border. The shutdown comes as a fresh protest erupted on Friday, marking nearly 2 weeks of demonstrations across Iran over rising living costs and broader demands for political change. Activists say dozens have been killed since the arrest began. Meanwhile, solidarity rallies have been held outside Iran, including a Free Iran protest in Washington, D.C. Reacting to the situation, U.S. President Donald Trump said Iran's leadership appeared to be in big trouble, warning of possible consequences if peaceful protesters are harmed. The protest represents the most serious challenge to Iran's ruling clerical system in more than 3 years. And for a bit on sports, we now join Kabir Lawan for the details.
Nigeria's under-17 women's team, the Flamingos, will begin their quest for qualification to the 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup finals when they enter the African qualifiers at the second round stage. The Flamingos are set to face the winner of the preliminary round tie between Niger Republic and Guinea. The first leg of the second round is scheduled to take place between 22nd and 24th May, with the return leg built for 29th to 31st of May. The winner, on aggregate over the two legs, will advance to the third and final qualifying round. In the third round, the first leg matches will be played between 3rd, 5th or July 3rd, while the second leg is fixed for 10th to 12th of July 2026. Successful teams at the end of the qualifiers will secure their places at the 2026 FIFA Under-17 World Cup, which will be hosted by Morocco in October. Nigeria, one of the Africa's most consistent performers at Under-17 level, will be aiming to return strongly to the global stage after their last outing ended in disappointment. The Flamingos were eliminated in the round of 16 following 4-0 defeat to Italy, a result that brought their campaign to an abrupt halt in the tournament. That exit has placed added focus on the upcoming qualifiers. The Flamingos were eliminated in the round of 16 following a 4-0 defeat to Italy, a result that brought their campaign to an abrupt halt in the tournament. That exit has placed added focus on upcoming qualifiers. That's Sport News. I am Kabir Lawan.
And with that, we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV for tonight. We thank you for joining us. We'd like to advise you to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Fatima Abbas Hassan. Thank you for joining us. Do have a pleasant night rest.